Here is the dirty, despicable, disgusting truth about how to actually get rich. This is not the sort of shit that you're gonna see on motivational pages, inspirational pages. This is actually the truth of it. The simple truth is that it is not about how hard you work. It's about what you work on. And I think if I had to attribute one thing towards my success, the one reason I've been as successful as I have over the space of the last 10 years I've been doing this, it's picking the right thing. 95% of success, I'm being honest, is picking the right vehicle to get to your destination. And sometimes this is kind of something I struggle with. And, I just came back from a run here in New York. I'm in New York.
First, this is the first time ever that I'll be watching Iman Gadzhi discussing something like this. I have watched him over the year and I've seen that in his old videos, he was able to do something like this, where he gave honest advice. Iman Gadzhi is always the kind of person that's, talk about this, making money online is easy. You can become a multi-millionaire in 5 days. That's why a lot of people hate him. That's why a lot of people call him scam. This is not easy. Just tell people the way it is.
And that's the truth of it. And I'm also not afraid to admit that. I hate this whole thing online of like, you just need to work harder. You just need to work harder. It's like, okay, well then why is it that a lot of the hardest working people never get compensated accordingly to how hard it is they work? And by the way, the other thing I see online, this whole like trying to shit on workers or 9-to-5ers, I just think that's the most whack thing ever. I think it's incredibly disrespectful. I think it's incredibly cringe. I've always tried to motivate people to work harder. I've always used 10 years of me uploading on YouTube as a case study of, what's possible, but not once have I ever dunked on people who have gone that path. I've said, listen, there's an easier path, there's a better path. And, of course I want to motivate and inspire people to take action. And the reason I push you guys to take action is because you've had your eyes open. You know something that other people don't. I know that if you're in this space, you might think, well, everyone knows about entrepreneurship. Everyone knows about the opportunities that are out there. Everyone knows about online business. But you got to remember that a lot of people.
Of course, everybody know about online job. Everybody know about digital marketing. Everybody know about online products. But not everybody that can do this, not everybody that starts, does succeed. The whole point is that it is not that easy. It is hard. For people to make it, for people to do 9-to-5 job is hard. It's hard. It's fucking hard. Out of 10,000 people that start online digital marketing work, this is only 0.5% or 1% that succeed. So everybody know about this does not mean that everybody succeed at
to yourself to not make things harder than they need to be. And as I said, I think this is just something that I was thinking about on my run here as I'm coming up towards sort of that next step in my career. And that next step in my career was only a possibility because I chose the right vehicle. And I spent the last 10 years working in the right vehicles to get me to this point. Now, it's very simple, okay? I'll put this quite simply so you can understand. Let's say you were trying to get to a destination and you had a few options to get there. If you walked, it would take you 1 year to get to the destination. Maybe if you ran, if you could even, stomach running the entire way, and you could actually survive that kind of journey, it takes you 4 months. Now you have the option to drive, and that takes you a week. Or you can take a flight, and it takes you 4 hours. Now, the person who decides to take a flight and the person who decides to walk, is the person who takes a flight, are they any more hardworking than the person who decides to walk? No, in that case, you would probably argue the person who walks.
The whole point of the video is that you should know the kind of vehicle you want to be. And knowing the kind of vehicle you want to be and knowing the kind of driver that is taking you there. So the vehicle is the industry and the driver is your own career. Is how you want to get there. How you get into this place fast, because all of us want to be successful. That is the whole point. But the driver that will take us to that success is what we're talking about here. So working hard is part of the driver. It is working hard that will make you work fast.
I honestly think for most people, they want freedom. And it's funny, like as you start to get into the higher echelons of your career, like in a way you have a lot less freedom. I'll be honest, I have a lot less freedom now than, I did a few years ago. That's just a decision I've made as to wanting to get to a different destination in life. And just thinking, wow, these people work so damn hard, but they're never gonna be compensated for how hard it is they work. And then I was just thinking about, what's the first thing you see when you go online? You see, oh, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. It's like, is that really true? Now, granted, of course, if you want to accomplish anything in life, you have to work hard. But is hard work really the number one key?
Yes, you cannot talk against working hard in this life. There's no way you won't succeed. Because before you can actually work smart, you need to work hard. You need to work a long time hard. Now you figure out how to work because you need to work hard, right?
Now, the vehicle where I really had that next step up in my career, and it was almost like going from driving to flying, was digital products. I've been selling digital products in one shape or one form or another for almost 10 years online. I remember my first ever experience with soiree into this was back in 2016. I released an ebook, and it was funny, even back then it was a lot trickier than it is now. Back then, even just getting payment processing, managing to sell stuff online, especially for me, because I was under 18, trying to get a PayPal sorted. Like 10 years ago, there weren't the tools there are now. Like now, really, there's no excuse whatsoever. Most people I've noticed, they don't want to make, they don't care about making $10 million a year.
For me, it's very important for me to make money for myself, to protect my family, and to give to my family. That is the point of why I'm working. I don't want to become that multi-millionaire. I don't want to have hundreds of billions of dollars in my account. I don't need that. But I need a sustainable amount of money to take care of my family, my loved ones, my environment, to take care of my community. It might be 1 million, it might be 10 million. I don't actually have a particular amount to that is tied to that. And I believe so that a lot of people are like that too. So he said that a lot of people don't want to become a multi-billionaire, multi-trillionaire. They just want to be fine. I want to be fine. I want to be cool, bro. Yeah, I'm tired. I want to be cool. That is the whole point. That is the whole point. Like, they want to be fine. They want to be cool. They want to live their life also. They want to enjoy life.
Make money online space is, you could try to like turbocharge it, but for a lot of people, that's actually going to end up being a worse experience for them. For a lot of people, maybe they shouldn't become a crazy psychopath and try to become a multimillionaire in a year. For most people, just replacing their income, having some side hustle money, some extra money in their pocket. Like for most people, that's life changing. You'll never compare it to that first month I started making a few grand a month from online business. So I feel like I'm kind of starting to ramble here, but I think the main thing I really wanted to get across in this video is there is no such thing as get rich quick.
Now he's telling me right now that there's nothing that is called get rich quick. He said this in the last 5 years I watched his video. 2020, I watched one of his videos that said that. But on his social media, it's look like that. Or that is what people are saying. It is not. There's nothing like get rich quick thing, bro. Except you want to pay betting or gambling or Ponzi schemes. And you know what will happen at the end of the day? You will be scammed. Yes, you will. So this will take time.
Flying private, there's a level of inconvenience that comes with that, because you still need to leave your house. So there's no such thing as get rich easy, but there's get rich easier. There's ways to get to your destination more comfortably. Field if you are educated. And what I mean by that is not formal education. If you're educated to the vehicles that can get you there, not quick, but quicker. Not easy, but easier. And as I said, it's so interesting because even when I first started 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. Like even just, accepting payments online was tough. And, even for me, I chose quite frankly, an easier vehicle. And, I'm not afraid of saying that. I want to make it clear. I see this all the time where, people start to make some money online and then all of a sudden they think they're God's gift to earth, where I've said to my older entrepreneurial friends who are massively successful that if this was 30 years ago, I would not have had this level of success. Like almost this thing of this, like, wow, there's such a small percentage of people that know the opportunities that are out there right now. And I know that might sound funny to you because we're in this echo chamber of like online space where you think everyone is aware of all the opportunities and the online business models and this and that. Like all I did was I saw the vehicles I had at my disposal. I decided not to take the easy or quick route, but the easier and quicker route. And there's always an easier and quicker route. And I think as you're going into the rest of 2025 and deciding how do you make a change, you have to really sit down and evaluate which vehicle is going to get me to the destination I want. And once I've chosen that vehicle, how do I not fall into this trap of just thinking hard work is going to get me there? Because I can tell you right now, being around people who are at the highest levels of every single industry, it's not about hard work. And that's just the God's honest truth of it. And, you know, it feed my ego to sit here and say, oh, I just work harder than you, blah, blah, work harder, blah, blah, all this stuff. But it's just, I'll be lying. I'd be lying to you if I said that that's why I am where I am. I'm in the position I am. And if you ask anyone else, truthfully, that is actually going to be true with you, that is actually going to be real with you, why are you in the position you're in? They'll tell you, I chose the right vehicle to get me to my destination. And for me personally, it was digital products. And then now everything that's happening with AI, it's like this next bump of, it's like even the playing field even more. It's just crazy what's going on.
For many of you that know Iman Gadzhi, it's not this guy that we know before that actually said this. Now he's saying something very, very profound here, that we don't have the same opportunity he has. Of course, we don't. Are you saying this one? You don't have the opportunity he has. The first opportunity he has, he starts early. I mean, he starts in his teenage. You are starting your 20, your late 20, and your 30, or in your 40s. You don't have the same opportunity. Second, you don't have the time. Again, he has the time. Third, you don't have the money. That is what he's saying right now. So he's telling us right now the truth, which I love. So you don't have the opportunity he has. And we don't have the opportunity others have. We have our own opportunity right now, right? He chose the easiest vehicle to get into his destination faster. What kind of vehicle are you choosing for your destination? So at the end of the day, it's not how hard you work. So at the end of the day, it's not how smart you even work. So at the end of the day, it's not how much of work do you put into your career. At the end of the day, it's what vehicle that is taking you to your destination. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. See you in the next one.